Hello to every beginner programmer out there. I'm really happy to see you today, and we're gonna talk about a very important topic, not only in JavaScript but in programming in general. And it's gonna be about control flows, conditions, and loops. It's really exciting. So let's dive into it, guys. So first, let's talk about control flow. So what does that mean? Well, control flow is the order in which the computer executes the statements in a script. So generally, the code runs from the first line to the last line. Let me demonstrate this to you. So here, for example, we have let a equal 10. And now let's print a, console.log a. So if we do that, this code is going to be executed, and then this is going to be executed. So now a equal 10, and then we want to print a, and that's why we have 10 here. So what does that have with control flow? Well, if we try to put the declaration of a after the console.log, so we get the error we cannot access a before initialization, because the declaration of a is after the console.log. So we want to print a, however, there is no a. So now we understand when we put a after the initialization that we are printing the value of a that we have initialized above. Let me comment this, and here if I do let's say a equal a plus 5, and here, by the way, this a is not this a. What does that mean? Well, this a now contains the value of a that we have initialized above. So now a equal 10, and we will assign this value inside the new value of a. So normally a here will be 15. So if we copy this and paste it here, and then remove these comments, then now we have the a before, which is 10, and then the a after, which is 15. So after we initialized a, it is 10, which is what we have printed here, and then we have updated its content, and now it's 15. Okay, so that's how the computer runs the code. However, there are structures that can change that flow, and these structures are really frequent, and they are conditions and loops. So first we use conditions to, well, as the name says, to apply conditions to our code. Let me demonstrate this to you with examples. So let me add a comment here on conditions. So let's say we have the score of a student, which will be 13, and let's apply a condition to that. If the score is above 10, print good, otherwise print bad. So how do we do that? Well, we just write if, and then add parentheses and put the condition inside the parentheses. What is our condition? Well, if the score is above 10. So if the score is above 10, then execute the following code. So what we want to do is console.log good. And let me reset this. And now we have good printed here because we have met the conditions. And what if it's not above 10? Then in order to do that, we just need to add else here, and then we write what we want to do if it's not above 10. We say console.log let's say bad. And now what is happening here is that console.log bad is not executed. Why? Well, because this statement is true. And if this statement is true, then the following codes are executed. However, what's in the else then won't be executed. But if this is not true, then this won't be executed and the code inside the else will be. So let me demonstrate that. Let's say that the score is 9. So now what the console prints is bad. Why? Because the score is 9. Is the score above 10? No. So we won't execute the code that is following the condition. But if it's not above 10, which is true, it's not above 10, then execute the code inside the else statement. So now you can see that bad is printed because we are inside the else. And so what if we want to use multiple lines? For example, if the score is above 10, console.log good, and then let's say we want to print very good after good. Well, right now it seems that we cannot do that, right? Because if we want to say console.log very good, then we will get an error. Why? Because there is no way for our computer to say that these are what's inside the if condition and this is what's inside the else, because right now this breaks the flow of a loop. So now this else is out of place. Why? Because this can go independently. Like we can say if the score is above 10, just do this and then do this. But now we have an else here, which is what the error states here, an expected token else. So what we have to do to tell the computer that we want to print this if the score is above 10, we just need to add curly braces. And now there won't be any errors anymore. So here we have bad because the score is 9, and if the score is, let's say, 12, now we have good and very good, as you can see here. Alternatively, we can use the ternary operator. So what does that mean? Well, let me comment this first, so that there won't be anything anymore that's displayed inside our console here. So alternatively, we can just say put what we want to print inside a variable called result. Okay, so we can say const result equal, so what would be the result based on the score? So we can say result equal is the score more than 10, and then to use this as a condition we can just add a question mark, and then after the question mark we put the statement that we want to execute. No, after the question mark we put the value that we will put in result if the score is above 10. And so what will we put here? Let's put good. But otherwise, so here we add a colon, otherwise bad. So now the content of result is either good or bad. So what we need to do now is just to print the result. Let's say console.log result. And as you can see here, then we have good. Why? Because the score is 12. And because the score is above 10, then this value gets to be put inside the result. But otherwise, if I say 7 here, then the result will be bad Why? Because is score above 10? No. Then what after the colon will be put inside the variable result. So that's how we use conditions, guys. So now let's talk about loops. So what if we want to execute the code multiple times? Like, let's say based on the number of students, for example. So let's say we have an array of students. We have an array inside the brackets. And let's say we have John and Mary. So what if we want to print the name of each student? What we need to do is just to loop over them. So for each student inside the array student, print their name. Okay? So here I can say for, and then open the parenthesis, const. So for each student inside or of students, then I open the curly braces, and then I want to print the student name because that's the value there. Let's say student name here, console.log student name. So after we execute that, student, okay. So now we have John and Mary. Isn't this wonderful? Now we have looped over the array and we have printed each value inside the array. So let's say that our students now have name and a score. So instead of just their names inside the array, let's say for each student we have the name and the score. So instead of just strings, then we will be using objects, as we've seen in the previous video. So now let's create an object with curly braces, and then inside it we'll have the properties name, and the name of our first student will be John, and he will have the score of, let's say, 12. And then we have another student, a new object here with name, which is, let's say, Mary, and the score of 9. So now we have two objects inside the students array, and we can already see that it's no more student names here. So instead I will change this to student, and here to student. And as the student is printed, now we have the object printed, and here we have the properties name and scores inside each object. So what if I want to print the name and the score the way I want to do it, with template strings, as we've already learned before too? So in order to do that, let's start with those backticks and use $sign and then curly braces. Here we can say student.name, and then we add a space, and then we will print the student.score, right? So now, instead of having the array, we have our template string here saying that we will print the name and then the score. And so another thing that we can do is we can get the index of each element inside the array. So instead of just getting the student, we can get the index of each student with students.entries here, which is a function, a method of students. So we will talk about functions in our next video. So instead of just student here, now we have the index 2. So instead of just printing the name and the score, we can also print the index of where the student is inside the array. Index, let's say index, and remove this comment here. And now we have the index, the name, and the score of the student. So as you can see, the index starts with 0, and then the first element is 0, and then the second is 1, and so on and so on. Okay, so what if we want to loop over a part of our code while a condition is valid? So let's say, for example, we have a password, and until the password is true, we will tell the user to enter the password. So let's say we have let password is an empty string here, and we want the user to enter the password. And in order for the user to enter something, the easiest way here, at least for now, is to use the prompt method. So we can say password equal prompt, and then enter the password. And now we can see that we have a prompt before us here. So let's say my password, hit enter, and yes, every time the code refreshes, I get the prompt there. But what if I want to make the user enter the password until it's the correct one? So let's comment this first. In order to do that, we use the while loop. So in here, let's say if the password is not equal to, let's say, Mora, then do this. So what we say here is enter the password until the password is equal to Mora. So let's try this out. Okay, so here it's going to make us enter the password here. Let's say me, let's say you. It won't work. Why? Because it's not Mora. But when it is Mora, then we can follow along with the rest of the code. So that's how we use while. And alternatively, we can use do while. And what is the difference between while and do while? So here, if I enter Mora, for example, then the code executes if the password is not equal to Mora. But if I put Mora here, then this part of the code will be skipped because the password is already equal to Mora. So while password is not equal, Mora won't be valid anymore. So what if we want the user to enter a password no matter what before anything? So for that, we use do while. So here, let's say do, and do what I put here, while, let's say password is not equal to Mora. And as you can see here, the password is already equal to Mora. But if here I put prompt enter password, then I will still get the prompt pop up even though it's already true. Why? Because this part of the code is going to be executed no matter what. So here if I say hey, no, password admin, it won't work until it is Mora. And that's how we use do while as our loop. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you did like this video. Thank you for watching, and please like and leave a comment below. So see you in the next video.